Hey guys, yeah, I'm actually doing something I haven't done in a while, and that's review one of the latest chapters of Michelle or Jacaladors, and I think she's in the process of probably changing that name of hers on DeviantArt to something else, but Michelle, if you will, make it a little easier. Recently put up the 206th shift, if you will, or chapter of her ongoing series, Metamorphosed to Malleability. Now, to kind of speed you guys up for those that, are interested in this, basically, long story short, Briella has proposed to her girlfriend, Crystal, and has provided her with a engagement ring, which basically is made out of part of her, if you will. Long story short, Briella's powers have gotten to the point that she can, manipulate the artisticity, if you will, or the realism, to put it plainly, of an actual, diamond ring or emerald ring, whatever you want to call it, that she gave to her girlfriend. In other words, her girlfriend doesn't have to worry about if the ring gets damaged or broken or lost, it's always going to be there because it's part of Briella. Now, what's also interesting is Briella has discovered that she can also now manipulate reflective surfaces. In other words, she can shapeshift into like a mirror and all that. She could shapeshift into a mirror that you would find at the house, and and make basically a great replica of it, and go from there. So, yeah, basically, she and Crystal and their friends are trying to basically get on with their lives a little bit, all because of the fact that before this she was asked to go on an assignment by this Duncan guy and this Greta girl and those associated at this place that has a connection to what made her who she is. And she basically went there in the disguise, if you will, of one of the enemy's confidants to, basically try to, end this situation once and for all, to try to get the truth and stuff like that. And after she succeeded in doing it, one of the girls took her to the airport, admitted that she was kind of in on something, but it was against her will, and that she was apologetic for it. Briella understood, and then she allowed Briella to board the plane, which was an automatic plane, by herself, and kind of have it all to herself, in which Briella decided to kind of use the time she had and the small space that she had to mimic certain things. And, that was about it. Now, like I said, after she got back, she basically tried to get back into things, tried to get back, back to a normal life along with her friends. Went to the gym, if you will, with her friend Alana, or Aliyah, or Alaniye, I think. Went to the gym with her, even disguised as her duffel bag, and also as herself, because her powers had developed that far. And then, like I said, she went on with her friend to find an engagement ring for her fiancée, Crystal, in which I think she ultimately decided, what, why do I have to spend the money for an engagement ring when I can make one out of myself? And that's what she did. And it kind of tuckered her out when she made the engagement ring and presented it to Crystal, to the point that Crystal decided, what, you deserve a rest, and I know just the certain specific place that you can rest, if you kind of catch my drift, because since Briella has the ability to liquefy as well, basically be very malleable, which hence the title of the series, Malleability, if you will. Basically be very fluid, gooey, slime-like. Crystal said, I know just a place you can rest instead of your regular, go into the tub or go into the bowl kind of situation. And she kind of gave her entrance into, let's say, a very private bottom front region of hers, if you catch my drift, which is not the first time, if you follow the series, that Briella has entered and made herself comfortable in that front bottom region of her fiance. Anyway, so far the story is actually turning out pretty good. You can tell Michelle is working towards the wedding and everything, but it's not the only thing about the story that she's focusing on. One of the things that Michelle has been doing is she's going back to the two-part portion of the story, if you will. She's going back to the two-part portion of the story where the first half focuses on either Briella and her friends and all that, or something else, and then the second half focuses on Briella and her friends or something else. In this case, she's been having most of the time the Briella portion start us off before, in the first half, before going to the second half and focusing on the characters of the Duncan guy and the Greta girl and all them, basically the people that are, like the main, individuals, the main people in charge of this research laboratory institution, like I said earlier, where Briella has a connection with because it's one of the main places where she got her powers. And there's a lot of things going on. They're talking about the fact that they need a new head senior researcher that they could trust, and Briella's name has been brought up because of how helpful she is, or how helpful she's been to them, how basically how honest she is, and how good her heart is, and stuff like that. So her name is being brought up as a candidate to take on as the new higher arc senior researcher there. But they're also now encountering and bringing in a character that kind of had a connection to that Zetweiler or Zetheimer character that had tried to get Briella, or basically forced Briella to develop the same formula, if you will, to give him similar powers, to the ones that she had, if not identical. And he went as far as to have himself, if not one of his compatriots or comrades, kidnap Briella's fiancée, Crystal, to make that happen. And long story short, Zetheimer basically did himself in because he didn't understand that maybe this, ability that Briella has is only equipped to people like her. Like it only can bond specifically with people like her, or something like that. So he ended up killing himself. But even though his death, even though he died, I should say, you have this research led by the Duncan guy and the Greta girl. They're like, look, this guy may have been taken care of, his minions, comrades, may have been taken care of, but still there's one loose end. And that loose end is trying to figure out who among their senior research team was helping Zetweimer, basically Zetweimer, I'll put it that way, Zetweimer. They're still trying to figure out, okay, even though he's gone, his other associates are dead, we still have that one loose end of trying to figure out who among the senior researchers, that's what I was trying to say, basically betrayed them to Zetweimer, if you will. They're trying to figure out, okay, who's the one that leaked information to him? Who's the one that, betrayed us to him, kind of deal, or gave him access? And so they brought in this guy that had an association alongside this other girl who basically Zetweimer had lied to about, certain things. And now this guy that they brought in, after seeing imagery of people he cared about being killed because of what happened, in his association, agrees that he will help them out to basically make up for what he did. And that's where the 206th story ended, that just got put out today. And so far, it's pretty good. So far, what I'm trying to say is so far, the story has been pretty good. Again, it's still what I'm trying to say here is what I'm trying to say here is, I know that Michelle is trying to give a good balancing, if you will. In my opinion, she's trying to give a good balancing of, a plot to the story, as well as, give a good focus on Briella just having fun with her powers and all that, So it's really intriguing. It's really intriguing on how she's doing this. And I like how when you read the 206 one, I like it how she ends the first half of Briella shapeshifting into her 5-year-old self, looking at the mirror, and I guess bringing in her own current adult reflection to look back at her. And it's a mirror that she made of her. It's a mirror she made out of herself because her powers have become that advanced. That she's looking at her adult self, well, shapeshifted into her 5-year-old self, and basically she's exclaiming that she did it. That she basically conquered the naysayers that said she would never achieve any kind of dreams like what she has, and now here she is, in the now, in the present, proving them wrong with the ability she's been gifted. So, anyway, though, like I said, the story is turning out very good. And like I said, you could tell that she's building, Michelle, that is, the creator of the series, is building towards the wedding, but also is trying to wrap up the other, side plot that basically still will have a connection to what's going on with Briella in the long run. But you can tell she's trying to wrap up that side plot. Now, what's interesting, though, is when I look at that side plot, I look at the fact that, there's something, really like, there's, even though this story is all written and everything, there's no visualness, but she could probably do that later on whenever she gets more time. Even though it's a written story that you have to visualize in your mind, and there seems to be a piece, almost missing, but it's right in front of us. Like the answer, the piece of the puzzle that in the second half of the story of the shift of the recent chapter, recent chapters, I should say, there's something that's right in front of us and right in front of the characters that they just don't see. Like they're trying to find that missing piece of the puzzle to figure out how certain things occurred, and yet when you read the story and you visualize it in your mind, it's almost like the answer is right in front of them. And to me, I think the answer, believe it or not, ties in with someone very close to Briella's best friend, Elanie, if you will. Or Elanie. And that would be her fiance or her boyfriend, Vic. Now remember, I've come out here on several occasions and said, I do not trust Vic. I don't know what it is about the guy. I just do not trust him. Because here's the thing. If he was a trustworthy person, then why doesn't Elanie, talk to Briella and see if it's okay to reveal, if it's okay, I should say, for Briella to reveal herself and what she's capable of doing to Vic. What's the reasoning for hiding it, from him? If he's a trusting soul. And to me, I think we're going to get our answer soon that maybe he's not as trustworthy as he seems to be. Because again, they have all these opportunities from the summer vacation, miniseries they did, or Michelle did throughout the series, to the winter vacation one that she did. She's had all these opportunities where you've had Briella and Crystal and Elanie, along with Vic on these vacations for Elanie to, kind of get the okay from Bri to, show what she's capable of doing to Vic if he's very trusting. So to me, I think Vic, in my opinion, I could be wrong, in my opinion, I think Vic is that missing piece of the puzzle. I think he is the evidence that the Duncan and the Greta girl and all of them are looking for as to who may have aided that Dr. Zettenheimer, if you will, and trying to, gain the same kind of powers that breed it. So I'm thinking it's got to be him, or at least he has some kind of connection. Now, could I be wrong? Like I said, absolutely. But to me, it's just too evident. To me, it's just too suspicious. Is what I'm trying to say. It's just too suspicious, and I feel that he's going to be revealed as having some kind of connection. I just get this feeling. Now, whether or not Elanier knows about it, and she's kept it secret because, she wants to protect Briella, I think we'll eventually find out. I mean, if it's going to go the path I think it's going to go, especially if they're building to a wedding portion in the story, then to me, some kind of revelation is going to be made real soon that's going to strain the friendship between Elanier, Briella, and Crystal, because Elanier knew about this information and everything. It's going to kind of strain it, maybe. But if Briella is positioned as the way she is character-wise, she'll be upset, and it might strain her trust, not her friendship, but her trust with Elanier for a bit. But still, to me, I think that moment is coming, especially as you're building towards a wedding. Because, she's going to look at Elanier as maybe being one of her best ladies or maid of honors, but how could she put her in that position if she, keeps a secret from her about something she knew that pretty much put her and her fiance in danger, if you know what I mean. But besides that, again, the story series so far, going for the several years that it's been going, I've truly enjoyed it. I know I'm not the only one that's truly enjoyed it. And honestly, I can't wait to see how she progresses it later on. Again, I have my suspicions as to who I think could have helped out in the long run, to help that doctor out in the long run, what I'm trying to say. So I got my suspicions, but I could be wrong. However, we'll see what Michelle has in store. What I do hope is going to happen, and maybe it's just me. Maybe it's just me, but what I do hope is going to happen, unless she throws us with a twist, and Crystal turns out to be more than what she's saying she is, which I don't think she'll do, because she's been building up this relationship for too long. I don't think you want to go that far, because that's not a good directive, in my opinion, to go, especially if you have fans and viewers and followers on the edge of their seat, hoping to see the wedding become a reality. But again, that's just something I don't think she would do. But if she did, it wouldn't be the best move. But what I'm also hoping at the end is and this is just a personal preference, and maybe it's going to happen. That I think one of the personal gifts Briella is going to give Crystal is she's going to give her the same ability she has. But we don't know that right now, because in secret, this is just my opinion, in secret, in the story, even though Michelle's not writing it in there or hinting at it or Easter egging it, I have a feeling that as we get towards the end, get towards the wedding, we get towards the honeymoon phase, whatever, that one of the personal gifts Briella is going to present Crystal is with the ability to do what she does, and thus by both of them being malleable, elastic, kind of gooey-like, they can have all kinds of fun in ways that they never could imagine, especially from an NFSW erotic kind of standpoint, if you catch my drift. But that's just a personal preference of what I think could potentially happen, at the end when it's all said and done. Now, could I be wrong about that? Absolutely. But to me, just the way things have been, hinted at, in the long run and all that, of Crystal really being into this kind of stuff, the several times where Crystal has, in the story, asked Briella to cover all of her it's almost like, to me, she wants to enjoy that power, just as much as Briella does. And I wouldn't put it past that being, something that occurs. But we'll have to wait and see. I don't know how much longer Michelle's going to be writing the story. She did talk about it in a DA journal of how long it's been going. So we'll see what she's up to. We'll see what she's up to as time goes on. We'll see what her plans are. But right now she's at 206. She has 19 weeks basically before we hit 225. And in 19 weeks, hold on, let me ask a question here. Okay, there's the answer. 19 weeks from now will be, July 18th, 2022, a week before my birthday. Now, I'm not saying it would be a personal birthday preference to see that happen, but I got a feeling that basically by the time we get there around the week before my birthday, we're going to get the wedding. And that might be where she concludes it. Now, we have basically 25 weeks after, we have basically, I think about 26 weeks after that. So, it could still go on. She could end up taking this to about 250, which I think is towards the end of this year. I think 250 is towards the end of this year. So, she might go up to 250, be done with it, but we'll see. We'll see. I mean, if she's if she's already taken the steps of doing the engagement ring and the proposal and all that, I think we're very close to the wedding happening. And that, to me, will be the conclusion to the entire story. But I don't think it'll be the end, because knowing her, she might do an epilogue for the honeymoon, and that's where maybe where we see her gift Crystal with the same ability that she has, and go from there. But overall, though, guys, I recommend checking out Metamorphosed to Malleability on DeviantArt at Michelle's DeviantArt page, which is Deck of the Door. I will provide it down below. But yeah, it's definitely worth It's definitely worth looking at, in my opinion, reading and visualizing in your mind. It really is. So until next time, guys, let me know what your thoughts are down below. Comment if you like. Live chat during the premiere. Like the video. Super chats, super stickers are indeed open during the live chat. Would really appreciate your support there, whatever you guys can do. Also, check me out at Teespring store, or for merchandise you can find there. Also, check me out at BEW Rosa's Discussions, all your favorite audio podcast locations except for Pandora. Also, check me out at VENMO at BEW Rosa's for content you can't get anywhere else except for there due to copyright reasons. Also, check me out at Venmo at Brian-Walmer-2 to support me there financially. Cash App at BW Rosas 98 to help me support me there. As well as check me out at patreon.com/BW Rosas to support me there, the $1, $3 tier. And check me out at deviantart.com/BVW1979. But again, guys, I highly recommend checking this out. It's a great story. And that's all I'm going to say. So until next time, I am out.